Have you ever dreamed of pulling off the perfect crime and just vanishing without a trace? Well, one man might have actually done it. This is the story of D.B. Cooper, America's most legendary skyjacker. It all starts the day before Thanksgiving, November 24th, 1971. A man calling himself Dan Cooper, later misreported by the press as D.B. Cooper, boards Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 in Portland, Oregon. He's heading to Seattle, Washington, a short 30-minute flight. He's described as a quiet man in his mid-40s, wearing a business suit, a black tie, and a white shirt. He orders a bourbon and soda and calmly waits. After takeoff, he hands a note to a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. Thinking it was just his phone number, she slips it into her purse. Cooper leans in and says, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note, which he later took back, detailed his demands: $200,000 in unmarked $20 bills for parachutes and a fuel truck standing by in Seattle to refuel the plane. Schaffner alerts the captain. The airline president, wanting to avoid a disaster, agrees to all of Cooper's demands. The 36 other passengers on board have no idea what's happening. They're told there's a minor mechanical issue causing a delay. For 2 hours, the plane circles Puget Sound while authorities on the ground scramble to gather the money and parachutes. Once the plane lands in Seattle, Cooper's demands are met. The cash, weighing about 21 pounds, and the 4 parachutes are brought aboard. He releases all the passengers and flight attendant Schaffner in exchange. He keeps the cockpit crew and one other flight attendant, Tina Mucklow, on the plane. Now, here's where it gets even stranger. Cooper instructs the pilots to fly towards Mexico City, but with specific, unusual instructions. They must fly below 10,000 feet, at a slow speed of around 115 miles per hour, with the landing gear down and the wing flaps at 15 degrees. This is just barely above the plane's stall speed, making it a very tricky flight. Why did he demand for parachutes? The FBI has a theory. By asking for 4, he created uncertainty. He could force a crew member to jump with him, or maybe he didn't know which parachute was good. It was a clever way to ensure he wasn't given a sabotaged chute. Around 8 p.m., somewhere between Seattle and Reno, over a rugged, forested area of southwestern Washington, Cooper does the unthinkable. He goes to the back of the plane, lowers the aft staircaser, feature unique to the Boeing 727, and, in the middle of a raging thunderstorm, with wind chill at 70 below zero, he jumps out into the pitch-black night with the money. He simply disappears. The pilots land safely in Reno, but Cooper is gone. An massive search operation begins immediately. For weeks, soldiers, FBI agents, and local law enforcement comb the woods, but they find nothing. No Cooper, no parachute, no money. It's like he vanished into thin air. For years, the case goes cold. The FBI investigates over 800 suspects, but never finds a definitive match. The legend of D.B. Cooper grows. Was he an experienced paratrooper, a disgruntled veteran, or just an ordinary guy who got incredibly lucky? Then, in 1980, a little boy named Brian Ingram, camping with his family along the Columbia River, finds something incredible. Buried in the sand, he discovers 3 bundles of rotting cash. The serial numbers match the money given to Cooper. This is the only physical evidence from the hijacking ever found, but it raises more questions than it answers. The money was found miles from the projected jump zone. How did it get there? Did Cooper lose it during his jump, or did he bury it and never come back for it? The rest of the $194,000 is still missing. Over the years, Many people have claimed to be D.B. Cooper, or have been named as suspects by others. There was Richard McCoy Jr., a Vietnam veteran, who pulled off a similar hijacking just a few months later, but was caught. There was a man named Dwayne Webber, who on his deathbed told his wife, "I am Dan Cooper." And then there's Robert Rackstraw, a paratrooper with a troubled past, who fit the description and was a person of interest for the FBI. But in every case, the evidence just isn't strong enough. A fun fact about the name: the hijacker called himself Dan Cooper. A reporter, in a rush to break the story, mistakenly heard it as D.B. Cooper, and the name stuck. It's become a permanent part of the legend. Another interesting tidbit is that the FBI kept the serial numbers of all 10,000 bills. They released the list to the public, hoping someone might spot one, but besides the bundles found by the river, not a single $20 bill from the ransom has ever turned up in circulation. The D.B. Cooper case also led to real changes in airline security. After the hijacking, the FAA ordered that all Boeing 727 aircraft be fitted with a device called a Cooper vane, a mechanical wedge that prevents the aft air stair from being lowered in flight. It's a direct legacy of this audacious crime. In 2016, after 45 years, the FBI officially closed the active investigation. They concluded that they had exhausted all credible leads, but they still welcome any physical evidence, specifically the parachute or the rest of the money, if it ever surfaces. So, what really happened to D.B. Cooper? Did he survive the jump and live out his days in quiet anonymity? Or did he perish in the harsh wilderness of the Pacific Northwest, his skeleton and the fortune he stole still lying somewhere undiscovered? The mystery remains one of the greatest unsolved crimes in American history. It's a story that captures our imagination because it's about one man who took on the system, won, and then simply disappeared. What do you think happened? Did he make it? Let me know your theories in the comments below. This case is a perfect example of how sometimes the truth can be stranger and more compelling than any fiction. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this dive into a classic mystery, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories like this. See you next time.